Hi everyone, and thank you for attending this Wild Animal Advocacy Meetup, where we're gonna have people from the 4 different organizations that are working for the sake of wild animals, not because they belong to a certain species or because they are present in a certain ecosystem, but because they are sentient beings. We're gonna first have Jeff Sivo from the New York University Wild Animal Welfare Program. Then we'll have Mal Graham from Wild Animal Initiative. Afterwards, we'll have Aditya S.K. from Animal Ethics. And finally, we're going to have Will McAuliffe from Rethink Priorities. So, without further ado, let's start with Jeff.
Thank you so much, Oscar. Hi, great to see everybody. Thank you for being here. Really excited to catch up with everybody on the call. So as Oscar said, I, along with my colleague Becca Franks, direct the NYU Wild Animal Welfare Program. This is a research, outreach, and field building program that exists at the NYU Department of Environmental Studies, which is inclusive of the program in animal studies and related to other research centers like the Center for Environmental and Animal Protection and the Center for Mind Ethics and Policy. And the Wild Animal Welfare Program conducts and supports research, outreach, and field building about what wild animals are like, how humans and wild animals interact, and how we can improve our interactions with wild animals at scale. And one point to emphasize is that in order to achieve the right kind of complementarity with other programs in this space, we take a relatively big tent approach to our work. So our work is, for example, relatively pluralistic in terms of ethics. It incorporates welfare-based approaches and rights-based approaches, for example, and that extends to the science as well. We make relatively limited assumptions about the nature of wild animal welfare so that we can collect interest from ethicists and scientists and other researchers who care about the topic but might disagree about foundational issues concerning values and facts. And our work has been focusing, as I said, on research, and that includes not only book work, like last year, we put out a new edition of my book, Saving Animals, Saving Ourselves. And then this year, my new book, The Moral Circle, but also articles and reports. So, for example, last year, we put out a big team report co sponsored with other actors about how cities and other local governments can improve wild animal welfare in infrastructure policy. This year, we have a similar report in development about quote unquote pest and conflict management policy. And we do similar types of work at the global level. For example, we have ongoing collaborative research projects related to how wild animal welfare can be incorporated into sustainable development governance with international governments. And we also do outreach. And for example, we have occasional in-person events. We recently hosted an event with the author of the Wild Robot series, which ticks a lot of boxes for us about how a sentient robot improves wild animal welfare. And of course, with researchers and scientists, we recently hosted an event with Heather Browning and Oscar Horta about whether wild animal welfare is net positive or negative. We have an upcoming event with Megan Barrett about wild insect welfare, which I feel very excited about. And we do a lot of field building work too. In summer 2024, we hosted an in-person summit for researchers in wild animal welfare with special focus on early career researchers. And we intend to repeat that event in summer 2025. And we have a lot of research, a lot of outreach, a lot of field building and development as well. One project to highlight, which I emphasize has not yet been officially publicly announced. So not that everybody is going to race to post about it on social media, but please do refrain until you see an official announcement. We recently secured a $200,000 grant from the New York Community Trust, which is exciting for fundraising diversification reasons as well, to launch what we are calling the Wild Lab, Wildlife Inclusive Local Development or Land Development. I forget which one we had in mind when we proposed the lab. But basically, this is going to be a lab that will develop a scientific and policy protocol for positioning the New York University campus and New York City urban landscape as an urban lab for assessing the effects of infrastructure changes and other policy changes on wild animal welfare. And we hope that can be a proof of concept for similar work in other cities and other regions as well. So I feel very excited about that. We have other announcements related to that that I cannot quite yet make, even on this call, but am excited to be able to make soon. And yeah, happy to answer questions and just excited about ongoing collaborations with everybody. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jeff. So, Mal, would you like to jump in?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Mal Graham. I'm the strategy director at Wild Animal Initiative. We are focused on scientific field building for wild animal welfare specifically. So we do a few things on that front. We run a grants program to try to get more money towards wild animal welfare scientists or people who are not yet wild animal welfare scientists, but can start doing wild animal welfare science. We have our own research team who mostly do desk-based research, but we do have done, we're in progress on our first field study and seeing how that goes for an all virtual team. And we also have sort of services activities that we do to provide services and education to scientists to try to encourage interest in wild animal welfare science more broadly. We are some most recent things in our work right now are that we are really feeling like we've made some progress in getting the seed of wild animal welfare science started as a community among a lot of scientists. We recently had a grantee meetup in the UK where a lot of our different grantees came together and we're talking about their work and building ideas, realizing some of them are close together, planning exchange visits, things like that. So there really is a sense of community starting to develop among scientists in the field, although it's still a small community. And what we really want to see is that we accelerate this timeline from a small seed of a community that in academia might grow over 25 years into a robust field and take that timeline down to, say, 10 years or less. And some of the more recent work we've done, you can see in the notes for this chat, you can see some of our 2024 and 25 publications. You can see we have a grantee database up and running now. We can see what our grantees are producing. Our grants program started about 2 years ago now, or 3 years ago now, and that means that we're starting to see at the very slow timeline of academic science papers start to come out more in more meaningful numbers now. And then in the community building area, we have been invited to do a symposium at the Ecological Society of America on wild animal welfare in our backyards. We're also providing a community debate database, an opportunities board and listserv, and a Discord to provide more informal interactions among our grantees. And we're currently exploring what additional services we can offer. Honestly, we have a huge number of ideas and a lot of things that seem to be working, and our biggest constraint is probably funding right now, where with more money, we could hire more people and do more things. But I think it's like a really promising sign that it just seems like a lot of the things we're trying are actually working, where if we track how much funding is going into the field, how many people are talking about wild animal welfare science, how many papers are coming out, it's all starting to show the signs we'd want to see of these things are increasing. And the most important part, I'd say, from here is thinking not just about growing the field in size, but also ensuring it stays really focused on the highest priority problems. You can do a lot of work in wild animal welfare science on, say, just the welfare of whales, which I love whales. I'm very happy for whale welfare to get attention, but the vast majority of animals on the planet are not whales. And so trying to make sure that we see a focus on the most numerous animals, the most numerous or most impactful causes of suffering, and thinking through particularly the total consequences of activities in nature, and trying to keep those values present and in discussion, I think is really important and a core focus of our work right now. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Mal. So Aditya, you want to jump in?
Hello, everyone. My name is Aditya, and I'm the Outreach Coordinator in Asia for Animal Ethics. I have a short presentation to share with all of you. Right. So to give you a short introduction about what we do at Animal Ethics, we work on large-scale yet highly neglected issues in animal advocacy, such as wild animals, animals and long-termism, and invertebrate advocacy and raising awareness about their exploitation. We also have a mostly broadly long-termist approach where we focus on attaining a positive impact in a variety of future possible scenarios. And in our theory of change, we have identified the importance of goals such as shifting attitudes towards animals in the wild, gaining prestige to the cause area, and promoting the creation of wild animal welfare as a scientific field. And we have worked on attaining these objectives accordingly. Part of our work in recent years has involved publishing research on topics relevant to wild animal welfare in a way that is accessible for advocates and other key agents to use. This included work on invertebrate sentience, on wild animal contraception and vaccination, urban wild animal welfare, on the most effective ways to do wild animal advocacy, on how to build a new scientific field, and also on the attitudes of scientists towards different ways of improving wild animal welfare. For this, we surveyed hundreds of scholars and students from different regions, and we identified significant support for projects that included improving urban wild animal welfare, helping animals affected by weather events, and wild animal vaccination. Now, because we are coordinating our effort with Wild Animal Initiative and Rethink Priorities, who focus on academic work and research, we have shifted our focus to doing outreach and capacity building. To date, at least we are the only animal organization doing this work. Some of our work targets mostly advocates, while the other is tailored for university students, scholars, and educators, and yet other targets are other groups among the general public, sympathetic to helping animals, especially among Gen Zers. To that end, we host what's probably the largest informative website with information about farmed, wild, and other animals, which is right now available in over 12 languages, including not only European languages like English or Spanish, but also others like Chinese, Hindi, or Arabic. Altogether, we have close to about 2,000 web pages if we add all the languages. We have also been giving talks. We have given more than 200 talks around the world, mostly in universities, as well as academic and advocacy conferences, including tours of talks in the US, Europe, Latin America, and Asia. We have also done extensive capacity building work in wild animal advocacy, which includes the Wild Animal Suffering video course with 27 units, and also an Introduction to Wild Animal Suffering ebook, which is now available in several languages. Right, and now to talk a little bit about some of the projects we plan to do in the upcoming months. We will focus on expanding our outreach work in Asia with capacity building programs. We've done this in India already, and we are also currently training advocates in Japan. Hopefully, we also plan to do it in Hong Kong and are raising funds for that. We are especially interested in this because the difficulties of foreign organizations to work in China are insurmountable, except for maybe extremely large ones. Fortunately, Animal Ethics has an opportunity to influence China. We are working in Hong Kong, where we have a few contacts. So yeah, if we raise funds for this project, we hope to launch a fellowship program to train activists in Hong Kong. We are also doing other outreach programs in the process of releasing a Hindi version of our Wild Animal Suffering course. India is a promising country for wild animal advocacy efforts. It is the world's 5th largest economy, making it an influential global player. In addition, India has a large talent pool in life sciences, many of whom later immigrate to the US, UK, and EU for further studies and career opportunities. So influencing them while they're still in India could have a significant impact on their career trajectories. And in addition to this, we are also working on getting talented people from another neglected region, which is Latin America, to get involved in the space by doing recognized courses in universities. We also intend to do a short documentary on topics that we work on. Our video materials are very complete for those who are interested in learning about this topic. However, we feel there is still a need for less scholarly material that can be engaging for a wider audience, especially for younger audience, including university students. Due to this, we plan to do a documentary to target this audience, and which is also informative for other animal advocates as well. And we will be further developing our AI assistant, Senti, which is the only AI assistant of its kind. This specializes in providing information about animal ethics, wild animal welfare, and animals in long-termism. We launched this in March last year, but we intend to improve its efficiency further so that it's more useful for the users. More importantly, we are working on other things as well. For example, we are doing a short documentary on aquatic animals and their sentience. We have finished draft of it and are working on the final edits. We are looking for funders and collaborators for the final edits. So if you know anyone interested, please get in touch with me. I'll share my email in the chat. And apart from this, we are also working on social media outreach where we post extensively. We have close to around 700,000 followers on all our platforms. But altogether, in a few minutes, this is our summary of our work. So yeah, thanks again, and back to you, Oscar.
Okay, great. So now finally, Will from Rethink Priorities, it's your turn.
Thanks, Oscar. So hi, my name's Will McAuliffe. I'm from Rethink Priorities. We are a think and do tank. The think part is trying to draw attention to issues that the animal movement could be working more on. And so that includes wild animal welfare for sure. And some of our recent research in this area, trying to get some more clarity on the nature of problems that wild animals face and what we can strategically do about it, and what groups are already doing are linked in the meeting notes. And then the do part is trying to translate some of those ideas into actual initiatives. And we have a couple things going on there right now, including in partnership with Wild Animal Initiative. We're working on a research program to try to improve the humaneness of widely used insecticides, with the longer term hope of trying to get funding for scientists to actually carry out that work and potentially incubate initiatives to get those more humane insecticides actually adopted on real farms. In parallel, we also have some work upcoming where we're going to be developing a short list of potential interventions that can be incubated in the near term, and making recommendations about which of those initiatives we think should become a reality within the next few years. So look out for that. And then yeah, a handful of other more miscellaneous projects, like we've also done some field building and psychology with trying to develop a validated measure of how to measure attitudes toward wild animals, and yeah, in collaboration with the other organizations presenting here, try to help out with movement building and strategic thinking. So yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah, Animal Ethics always does a great job organizing these meetings, and excited to discuss more with you all. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.